Hey freaks, it's JJ. Welcome back to my channel. This is another video for my beginner metalhead series, and today we are doing part 2 of mosh pits, and today we're just talking about advice on how to survive the mosh pit. So if you missed my other video, just a general overview of mosh pits and what to expect, I'll link that at the end of this video or up here as well. But yeah, I wanted to thank all of you who kind of commented various tips that you wanted me to share about mosh pits and things like that, so I will definitely include that, all of your guys' advice throughout this video, and just a little section at the end of this video. So thank you so much for everyone who is so welcoming for beginner metalheads, and thank you for helping me mention things I didn't really think about for mosh pits. So let's get started. Okay, first thing to know when figuring out how to survive the mosh pit is being prepared. So we're going to go with the little Boy Scouts motto, which is always be prepared. So there's a lot you can do in preparation for moshing. So first of all, clothing. Like, what are you going to wear that won't fall off of you? Basically anything that has pockets is going to be awesome, especially pockets with like zippers and stuff, like so that you can hold your phone or wallet and stuff, and that won't like fall out of your pocket and get lost, because that would definitely suck. So if you have a bag that is like strapped to you well, make sure it's attached to you well before going into the pit, or just make sure your belongings are like very securely attached to you. And I'll talk about handling band merch in the pit here in a little bit, but basically just make sure things are attached to you fairly well. If something is like feels like it might get lost, it probably will. Also, one of the biggest things that people mentioned about advice for the pit is do not wear your glasses in the pit. So if you wear prescription glasses, then maybe this might be a good day for your contact lenses. If you don't wear contact lenses, then definitely get those little things. I have one here, hold on one sec. So if you wear glasses and you don't have contact lenses, then I would suggest one of these thingies that you basically just strap to the ends of your glasses, and then you wear and then they don't fall off of your face in the pit. Like, it might seem dorky, but first of all metalheads are fucking dorks, so like who cares? And also, like, losing prescription glasses is very expensive to replace, so, but would you rather just, like, get one of these for, like, $1 or something at the Dollar Tree, or would you rather have to replace your glasses for, like, $500? You tell me. So, yeah, looks normal, and you can just kind of hide the thing behind your hair, sort of, if you have hair. So, yeah. Also, if it's, like, an outdoor concert, make sure if you bring sunglasses, which I always do because I can't stand, like, squinting in the sunlight, especially because I'm Asian. When I squint, I just can't see anything. So I always bring sunglasses, but I always bring like the $5 sunglasses that I order off of Amazon in a pack of like 10 or whatever. So if you do bring sunglasses with you, expect that you will lose them / break them, and just bring cheap sunglasses if it's an outdoor venue. Another thing to not bring into the pit is any kind of like spiked jewelry or anything like that, or anything that has like really like sharp spikes on it. Like, these are like studs, which aren't gonna hurt anyone because they're not sharp, but like those cool like spiky like chokers, or like some people have like cool sweet spikes on their battle vests, those will get confiscated at a lot of shows when you go through security. They'll have like I always see like this big bin underneath the like security desk full of all these different spiked like accessories and stuff. So spikes are probably not going to be allowed in, first of all, in a lot of venues, and second of all, it's probably going to hurt you more than anyone else if you are wearing some kind of spiked jewelry into the pit, because just, I don't know, it's on you. I mean, you could hurt someone else with it too, but it's probably going to hurt you more than anyone else, I would think anyway. Okay, next let's talk about footwear. So any kind of shoe that you're going to wear that could potentially slip off or come off or get pulled off is likely to happen. So make sure any shoes that you wear, they're going to be attached to you really well. My favorite thing to wear is boots, absolutely. So, Exhibit A is my Doc Martens that I have been wearing for forever. These bad boys have gotten me through a lot of concerts and a lot of festivals. Doc Martens last pretty much forever. So, yeah, they take a little while to break in, but they're good for standing for long periods of time. They're really comfortable, and it's like impossible to get them ripped off of you unless you like untie them. Yeah, any kind of boots are usually good. Definitely nothing that's gonna like fall off, like sandals or flip-flops or anything like that. If you are wearing like just like tennis shoes that you normally wear out, I would just like batten down the hatches on those puppies and just really tighten the laces as far as they can go, and double knot and all that shit. And the last part of preparation is making sure that you hydrate. So make sure you drink a lot of water because you will be sweating a lot if you're going to the pit. And it's really, really hot in there and you're going to be doing a lot of cardio. So make sure you just hydrate throughout the day beforehand. Also, make sure you don't pregame too much because you don't want to get too fucked up that you can't enjoy the show. First of all, which, I mean, you want to remember it, right? And then also you don't want to be like that person who is like stumbling all around, falling on people, and potentially puking on people, which I have seen happen. I've been very close to getting puked on, but I've never actually been puked on personally, thank God, knock on wood. Yeah, but it happens. Like, people just get too fucked up. So careful how much you drink and or consume in various recreational things. So next we're going to talk a little bit about how to hold on to the merch that you got at the merch booth. So most likely you came into the venue, you passed security, and you beelined it for the merch booth because you want to make sure you get a shirt before they're all sold out of your size or whatever you're looking to get before they're all sold out. So you got a couple different options here depending on, you know, what you buy and what is okay with the venue. So first of all, some venues do have a coat check where you can just check all the merch that you bought. Like if you bought a bunch of vinyls and you bought like sweatshirts and t-shirts and books and all kinds of stuff like that, you can coat check it, which not a lot of venues have, but some of them do. The next option would be to go drop all the merch off in your car, if that's allowed. You want to make sure before you leave the venue that re-entry is allowed, because a lot of venues, re-entry is not allowed, so you're not allowed to come and go. So just make sure you're going to be allowed back in if you want to go drop your stuff off in your car. And the third option, which is what I mostly do, is I just wear whatever I buy. I don't tend to buy too much merch, and I don't really collect vinyl or anything, so usually I just put the shirt on that I bought, or, you know, I'll sometimes prepare for that by just wearing like a sports bra underneath my battle vest, and that way, you know, I'm not too hot because I'm only wearing one shirt instead of two once I buy the shirt at the merch booth. But if you're buying more than one shirt, or you don't want to wear it because it's going to be way too fucking hot because it gets hot in the pit, and you know, you might be outside and it might be blistering hot, you don't want to wear so many layers or whatever. One cool trick I'm going to share with you guys is basically you can just kind of attach it to yourself and forget about it without losing it in the pit. So first, you're going to need a belt of any kind. It doesn't really matter what kind of belt. I prefer to use an emo belt that I've had since 2008, but really any belt will do. Basically, you just put on your belt like you would normal, and then you go to the venue. You get there, you get your merch, let's say you get a shirt, so then you just undo your belt and you stick the belt through the armholes of the shirt and then just put your belt back on. And that way it is attached to you and you can kind of forget about it and you're not just like wearing it and getting super hot. So yeah, you can do that with like multiple shirts, as many as you can fit on your belt, really. You can even make yourself like a little like t-shirt kilt with this situation, but yeah, pretty much as many shirts as you can fit on there and still buckle your belt is what you can carry, and you don't have to worry about losing it in the pit. Also, if you buy things that are kind of fragile, like vinyl or like posters, and there's no coat check and you can't go back to your car, you might just need to put it in your backpack or whatever bag you brought, such as that clear bag that I talked about in my other video. If you brought one of those, just stick it in there. But yeah, posters and vinyl, expect that to get destroyed if you go in the pit with those things. So I'd be really wary to bring any of those things in the pit just because they're probably 100% going to get destroyed. If you do have to hold on to it, then it's kind of really suck to mosh because you kind of need to be hands-free for that. The other option would be just buy your merch at the end of the night, so that way you don't have to hold on to it the whole time. The only problem with that is you run the risk of them selling out of whatever it is that you want, which they tend to do quite often because usually they only put out a certain amount of X merch per show, that way they don't sell out in the first two shows, you know, of the tour. But yeah, that's definitely an option if you don't want to carry things around and you don't have anywhere else to put it. So now, at this point, I feel like it's important to talk a little bit about crowd killing, which a lot of people had mentioned in the comments of my other video. Crowd killing is basically, how I define it, is basically hitting someone with the intention to hurt them. Again, a lot of accidents can happen in the pit, like maybe you get hit or elbowed on accident without the person meaning to, and that's not really crowd killing, that's just like an accident. Which, you know, happens. But crowd killing is where you literally try and, like, punch someone or kick someone on purpose. And so this is definitely not okay at your standard rock or metal festivals. This is not cool. You will get kicked out. You will start a fight. It's not going to be good, so just be aware that you should not be hitting, kicking, punching people, like I mentioned in my other video. Now, some caveat to this is where it gets a little bit complicated and a little bit controversial is when it comes to hardcore dancing. So basically, I'll throw a couple examples up of like hardcore dancing here. Basically, hardcore dancing is so fun. I don't really do it personally, but like I love watching people hardcore dance because it's such a pure form of like just the music taking you and needing to express that in a physical form. Plus, I grew up dancing and I'm still a dancer, so I understand the need to dance to music that moves you. So hardcore dancing, in my opinion, is a cool thing. I understand it. I'm all for it. The only problem is when people start hardcore dancing in places where they don't have enough room to hardcore dance, or breaking out in hardcore dancing when it's really not appropriate because there are people who are far too close to you. So yeah, at its core, hardcore dancing is not an issue. It's not a problem. It's just that when it's done at the wrong time, it becomes a serious problem. So basically, if you're hardcore dancing and you're flailing your limbs, just throwing arms and elbows and legs and just like dancing, having a good time, you can see how that can very easily accidentally punch someone in the face or accidentally elbow someone in the face, and then it can turn ugly, it can turn into a fight, and things can go downhill from there. So basically, yeah, if you are gonna hardcore dance, make sure you have enough space for it, make sure you're not encroaching on anyone else's space, by hardcore dancing like on top of them. Do not hardcore dance in the middle of a pit. Yeah, just make sure you have enough space for it. And if you see someone hardcore dancing, try to make sure you give them as much space as possible, or you will probably get hit by a flying fist or a flying elbow or a flying kick or something. That brings us to talking a little bit about emergencies. So sometimes there will be emergencies, especially if it's like an outdoor venue and it's really fucking hot outside. Like people faint, people get low blood sugar, people get alcohol poisoning, people get too fucked up on whatever substance they're doing, like, or someone gets hit in the face by a crowd surfer, like things happen. Someone at some point will probably need security's help. And so, yeah, if you feel like you are not well, you don't feel safe, definitely just get out of wherever you are. If you're in the middle of the crowd, make your way to the back. If you're in the middle of a mosh pit, get out of the mosh pit. If you just need some air, whatever you need, just get out of there as fast as you can. So then that begs the question, like, how do you get out of the pit? Literally, you just ask. All you have to say to anyone standing in your way is like, hey, I want out. And they'll let you out, unless they can't hear you over whatever's going on. But like, just point and be like, I'm going that way. So, make your way to the back of the crowd, and yeah, just get out of there. People are generally nice about people leaving. People are generally not so nice about people trying to cut their way to the front of the crowd. But if you're trying to get out, then you should be fine. Also, yeah, don't be afraid to ask people for help if you need help. Just people are generally very helpful and people are generally nice. And yeah, just generally good people trying to have a good time. So also another thing that I just really want to hammer home is to be aware of your surroundings at all times. It can be really easy to get distracted by the music, watching the band and getting really into the music, really just vibing with whatever's going on. It can be easy to get distracted and then like a crowd surfer or like comes over the top of you, or a mosh pit breaks out right around you. Like, just be aware of your surroundings, be aware of like drunk people falling over, be aware of mosh pits erupting, be aware of crowd surfers. Just try to be aware of your surroundings. Like I said, try not to get too fucked up because then you can't really be aware of your surroundings. Yeah, just be aware of your surroundings and be good to your fellow moshers, and you should be just fine. People will try to typically look out for each other in the mosh pit and typically try and be good people. Now, moving on to my suggestions from all of you fellow freaks who left comments in my last video or on my Instagram or Facebook. Thank you so much for all of you who shared some of your thoughts and advice or things that you thought I should bring up. Some other things I left out because I will definitely bring up in other videos after this, but here are a few of them. So first tip of being in a mosh pit is to keep your hands up but low. Basically, you want to be hands-free, so you want to be prepared for falling on someone and or pushing someone away who falls on you, or catching yourself if you fall on the ground. Basically, just have your hands prepared and ready to catch yourself or someone else as needed. So yeah, you don't have them like stuffed away in your pockets or whatever, and you don't want to have them like too high where you accidentally elbow someone in the face. Keep them just, around your center of mass and just, be at the ready for shoving and everything like that. Another piece of advice is do not go counter to the movement of the pit if you're in a circle pit. So if everyone's going counterclockwise, you should probably also try and go counterclockwise and not try and go against the flow of traffic. Another one was keep your mouth closed. And yes, I can see that. There's a lot of gross stuff that goes on in the pit. Some of that being sweat flying everywhere and or someone's hair just like getting in your mouth, which is so gross. But like, I've probably definitely been a culprit because I have long hair and I like to headbang, and I know probably I'm headbanging on people who are screaming to the lyrics at the same time, and you get like a mouthful of someone else's hair. Oh, gross. Or you get someone's like a flick of someone's spit in your mouth. Oh my god, gross. So let's just try and keep your mouth closed. If you're afraid of ingesting anyone's germs like that. Also, don't be an asshole. That is like another like big one that we're talking about is like, don't try and involve people in the pit if they don't want to be there. Of course, like, that's just not cool. Only people who want to be in the pit should be in the pit. Don't kick people. Like I talked about in the last video, no kicking, punching, etc. Just be kind of just generally respectful, and always pick people up when they fall. Definitely don't trample over them, and definitely don't just leave them down there. Another one is do not bring an open drink. Like, okay, you got a full beer and you probably paid like $8 for that really shitty warm beer. Try and like drink it before you go into the pit, because if you go into the pit with an open cup, it's gonna get spilled everywhere and you're just gonna lose out on $8. Let's be honest. Drink your beer first and then go into the pit, because like I said, too, you're going to need to be hands-free anyway. And last but not least was, please wear deodorant. And that should be just like always, like whenever you go to a show, please wear deodorant. It gets so smelly in the pit. And I understand, like, I know deodorant can only do so much because everyone is just sweating hardcore. Like, I know that it's going to smell no matter how much deodorant everyone puts on. But, like, it can't hurt, like it could, putting on deodorant before is just courtesy to everyone else at the show. Everyone else you're going to be rubbing up against and who's going to be rubbing up against you, and just contributing to the collective smell of the space. So yes, please be courteous to your fellow moshers and wear deodorant. But also expect it to stink super bad in the pit as well. That is all for how to survive the mosh pit. If you still have questions, comments, concerns, or if you just want to share a story or let me know if it's your first time going to a metal concert, drop that all down in the comments, and I'd love to hear everyone's advice and everyone's stories about their first concert. And yeah, I'm just really excited about turning all of you little beginner metalheads into full-fledged metalheads and having you join the metal cult, so to speak. Anyway, my next video, I'm probably either going to be talking about festivals or crowd surfing, or maybe both in the same video, I'm not really sure. Definitely expect crowd surfing or festivals to be a subject that I bring up in my next video. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already and get notified when I put out videos such as this. And thank you so much for everyone who's watching, and yeah, see you later.